Most people just get through the day. Most people spend the best hours of their best days watching House of Cards. It's a good show, but we live in a world where people are addicted to their devices. Your devices, your addiction to checking every WhatsApp that comes in, every notification from Facebook, every social media post is costing you fortunes of productivity, creativity, impact, and influence. When you focus monomaniacally on a project or a skill, a neural pathway gets set up around that one skill. You isolate a neural pathway. Every time you practice your skill, whether it's leading, whether it's innovating, every time you turn off your phone, you get away from distraction, because every genius has one thing in common: extended periods of time away from distraction and interruption. When you get away from distraction and interruption and you focus on that one skill or that most important project, the neural pathway gets stronger and stronger. And the more you practice the skill, the more that neural pathway gets isolated. Now, when it gets isolated through deep practice every single day in an undistracted environment, oligodendrocytes get triggered and they release a fatty tissue called myelin. Myelin is thought to be, by many researchers and scientists on high performance, to be the secret of genius. Wayne Gretzky, he said, "I didn't skate to where the puck was, I skated to where the puck was going." Steve Jobs, "I could see around corners." Messi, bend the ball like Beckham. These people were not naturally talented. They stripped away distraction. They developed a monomaniacal focus on mastery. They did it over an extended period of time. And what happened? Their brain kicked in to create a pharmacy of mastery that every single one of you in this room has. Anders Ericsson actually says it well. He goes, "You know what? Picasso and Mozart and Metzi and Federer, those people are gifted, but you have the gift too." Because the gift of genius is a brain that can adapt through practice and focus. It's called what? Neuroplasticity. You all have that gift. And if you want to have the results only 5% of the population has, you've got to be willing to think and behave like only 5% of the population. When you get away from distraction, when you start to focus on that one piece of work that you want to take to world class, your neocortex, which is the seat of reasoning, starts to shut down. You see, because you never do your best work from the intellect, you do it from a deeper place. Your neocortex starts to shut down and your brain waves shift from beta to alpha. Every day when you're at work doing distractions, being interrupted, living the daily life, your brain is in beta. But if you look at geniuses, they're operating at alpha waves. Once your brain shifts from beta to alpha, a pharmacy of mastery is created. Cortisol, which is the fear hormone, starts to reduce. A lot of us are in fear every day. We don't even know it. That's why we don't take risks. That's why we don't push the envelope. That's why we don't innovate. That's why we're afraid to be ourselves. Cortisol. When you're away from distraction, cortisol comes down. Dopamine, the inspirational neurotransmitter, is released. And serotonin is released. And a pharmacy of mastery is actually created in your brain when you go into that quiet space to do very focused, concentrated work. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi of University of Chicago calls this the flow state. Every single one of us can create flow in our work. And when you get into flow, that's when the athletes do otherworldly things. That's when the great painters create these masterpieces. The rituoplasticity. What does rituoplasticity mean? Well, just like there's neuroplasticity, your habits, your routines, and your rituals are plastic. Rituoplasticity. Here's a model that will explain, hopefully, habit installation. Every habit goes through 3 phases. Number 1, destruction. Of course, it's going to be hard at first. You're destroying your neural pathway of the old habit and the emotional architecture of that old habit. Every routine or ritual or habit goes through, number 1, destruction. Approximately 20 days. 66 days to install. Look at this. From the starting point to anything you've learned today you want to install as a habit, from 0 to 66 days. At 66 days, you will reach what researchers call automaticity. It'll be easy. You'll get up at 5 a.m. automatically. You'll journal, go the extra mile. Practice your craft automatically, but you have to stay with it for 66 days. First 20 days approximately is phase number 1, destruction. Phase number 2, confusion. After you've destroyed it, it's like renovation. There's a mess. Now you're confused. It's normal if you're confused. If you're confused, you're still thinking for yourself. If you're confused, it means you're growing. Society says, what's wrong with you? You're confused all the time. I'm suggesting to you, you're confused all the time because every single day you're disrupting who you used to be yesterday. And of course, society doesn't understand you. To have the results very few have, you've got to live and behave like very few do. After confusion, stage number 3, the final 20 days approximately, integration. Integration of the new habit. Destruction, of course it's going to be hard for 20 days. Confusion, phase 2, messy in the middle. You're going to feel like giving up. This won't make sense. It's new to you. Finally, integration. You get to automaticity. It becomes a part of your new belief, your new way of being. It becomes easy. Here's the fascinating thing. You only use willpower until you get to automaticity. This is the secret of the great athletes. They are spending all this energy on willpower just to install the routine. Once the routine becomes automatic, the exciting thing is they free up their willpower for their next routine to be installed. Don't watch the news. Don't populate your life with energy vampires. Turn off your notifications and go dark for a significant period of time. But please install a tight bubble of total focus, at least for 2 or 3 hours every single day. Game changer. You can be world class, you can fit in with the world, you don't get to do both. And if you do these kinds of things I'm teaching you, the world will call you eccentric. This is where you got to develop the interior core where it doesn't matter if people call you crazy. One of the things limiting you from your income, your impact, a world-class life. You care too much about what people think about you. Most people on the planet today are followers. How many people do you know think for themselves? How many people do you know are originals? Most people have not even made the time to think alone. What food do I like? What are my top values? What is real leadership for me? What are my true measures of success? What are the books I like versus the person I follow on the social media? It is rare to see a woman or a man thoughtful, deep, thinking for themselves. Most people don't think for themselves. They're brainwashed. They're hypnotized. They're plugged into the matrix. They're watching all the media, and they're being hypnotized and programmed into a way of living that I believe is heartbreak at the end. We all, according to science, so if you don't want to believe it, that's fine, but according to science, we can do world-class work. According to science, we all have genius within us. But here's the thing I want to challenge you with. We all want genius. We all want to be world-class. We all want to be great leaders. And we all want to live meaningful lives. And yet we're not thinking the thoughts, constructing the rituals, creating the environments that would create a world-class life and genius level work. How can you get the results of mastery if you're not willing to do what's required for mastery? No idea works unless you will do the work.